Hi everyone, it's Peggy from the Pearl Forest, and this is hashtag Play Your Hand, day number 29. And today, for our project and our challenge of five playing cards this time, which will be journal cards, we're doing Stack-A-Whack. Now you may have heard of this before, or you may not. And if you look on YouTube, you'll probably find many people doing it. I do not know who started it. I've seen it on a number of channels. So to start with, I've glued the five playing cards I'm going to use onto this coffee dyed, plus it has some yellow that's gotten on it, paper. Nice edge here that we'll use for something else, because we want our backs on our cards. So that would be the first step that I would suggest. Now, does it have to be on playing cards? No, it can be on any size thing. As a matter of fact, let me just grab something and show you. I have book covers that I've done this on. These were made with greeting cards. And here's some different versions of the Stack-A-Whack. And I'll show you how to do it in a minute, but these are some of the little journals that I've made. They have their pages in here. We'll get into those one of these days, hopefully soon. So that's one thing that you can do is put it on greeting cards, and I've covered up most of the greeting card, but then let some of it show through. This we're going to use playing cards today, and you can do it on anything. You could do it on a large index card. You could do it on a scrap of packaging. What you want is 5 surfaces to work on, like our surface is playing cards today. You want them to all be exactly the same size to make this work. So we're using these playing cards, and as soon as I trim it out, I'll show you what we need to do for the covers. I hope you're having a great day. I'm having a pretty good one. I just had a very, very yummy breakfast. My dog isn't here this morning, but I had a cat while I was warming up some leftover steak, and I was generous and shredded a little bit of it for the cat, who thought that was a mighty tasty breakfast. And then I had some eggs, so steak and eggs. So it was a very good breakfast. A little late possibly for breakfast, but worked out for me in between a couple videos. Okay, this is my extra one. I'm gonna just snip these little pieces off so I can reuse the leftover of this. This will come in handy for something. I hope you've been enjoying this challenge. I have. It's fun to see what you can do out of things. I love a challenge. We will be having other different ones in the future. Probably not a whole month of something for a while, because if you make videos yourself, you'll know that that's a big challenge to have one every single day. but I enjoyed it and enjoyed working with the different materials and coming up with ways to use them. And I hope you did too. Okay, so there's our 5 cards. And they all have their different backgrounds on them. Okay, for the front, I've drawn on those to get ready. We want 5 things that are exactly the same size and shape, or as exactly as, you know, we can do. So what I decided I would do is just trace one of the playing cards, and then we'll cut these out. And I just grabbed some scraps. You see this is torn. Some scraps of scrapbook paper. It helps if it's not real thick paper, so I don't know if you'd want to choose cardstock. You could do it. It's just harder to do the tearing. You could certainly use coffee dyed scrapbook paper, just regular copy paper. You could stamp on it. You could use painted paper. So I've picked this yellow stripy piece. Sorry for my arm. I'm just sticking these up in my scrap paper bin up on my shelf. I'll try to slip past the camera there. Okay, so this one, these little pieces will be useful in another project, but that little one is just too little. Okay, so we have this paper. I almost said fabric. It's kind of like fabric, isn't it? It's just the paper version. And put this one back up here. That one we'll throw away. And you might not think these patterns and colors go together, but I think you could have like a series of blue like those covers I did, or you could have wild and crazy things that you can use for your colors. These are sort of sticking to my desk. It's not sticky, but there is glue on there. Okay, so this is just blue copy bond here. It's kind of nice to throw in at least one solid or solid-ish color to kind of break up the busyness of the prints. And sometimes I'd say it's probably nice to have a couple solid or solid-ish print, or not prints, but papers. But we're gonna just go with one for today, and I seem to have drug out my pile of scraps. Now this one I picked is a print that has a busy pattern of words, but I thought we needed some contrast here, so I thought we would try this. So again, this is called Stack and Whack, and you'll see why in a minute. Although I'm not sure that whack is necessarily the technical term. Okay, so this all has to do with family. Okay, what we need is a binder clip, or several. I have a nice little turned bowl here. can have, there's a little person to put on a card. A little chenille bear person too. You never know what you find in here. Okay. Only have 3 binder clips in here, but let me just reach right over here. I know I have some more. One of them is a little bigger than I would like. We'll use it. Well, here's a smaller one. Okay. These are such small cards that actually these really little ones would probably be best. Okay, I'm gonna set these aside because we don't need them for this moment. So what we're gonna do is stack these up. I think I might alternate them like this. Get a right side up if there is one. We're gonna stack them together really neatly. And if they're not perfect, that's okay. So we're basically gonna change this paper into 5 different sections. So we'll have a clip for each one. Okay. So the whacking is we're going to tear it. Now that's why you don't really want scrapbook paper, I mean cardstock, because it's hard. It's hard enough with 3 layers of bond or scrapbook paper. So we'll kind of keep them in order here. So then that will be here. That one went down like that. And keep this corner. And maybe we'll just head up here kind of to the middle. So we've got, you can tear it any way you want, but you have 5 different shapes for your 5 different cards. This one needs a little fix on its corner before we get going here. And actually we want the backs down because we're going to be gluing onto the fronts. So what you do is you take your first one and you start on your first card. It's sort of like dealing cards. You're going to be dealing out George Santayana. I wonder if that's who made the paper. That's interesting. I didn't know there was a name on there. So you give everybody one, and then you go to the next one, whichever next one you're going to say is your next one. Hello, kitty. And you don't start on that one. You move over to this one. And you go along. So see, you alternate. And then you get down to here, and then you go back around to there. So each card is going to get one of each piece of paper. So now we'll go over to this card. And then to this one. And this one. I guess we're whacking them because we're whacking them apart, but we're really tearing. So put that one there. And this one here, and then we'll call this number 4, and we've already done those ones, so I guess we'll start with number 4. Put this one down. So even though all these are the same paper, they're going to be, is that just one? Yeah. They're going to be different because of the way the papers get on the page. although they're going to be similar because they're the same papers. So it's kind of like a set, I guess, in a way, but the way you finish them can be very different. Okay, so no, yeah, I was going to say we don't want this one here. We want, there we go. So those are our cards then. So then we just start decorating. Put these away. So we'll glue each piece on, and we'll do this one without distressing the edges, and then we'll try one with distressing the edges. Let's put these up out of our way so it can get in here. And I try to line them up on the edge of the card, and if you end up having a little bit of overlap or gap in between, you can use the little distressing ink to fill in that gap. Let's see, before I stick that one down, I'm going to do this one in the corner to make sure we get all the way down to the corner. Then we'll put this one in on the edge in between there, and see there's like a little tiny space right there because it never tears exactly perfectly between layers. And now this one we have a little gap sort of there as well. Okay, so that's one without distressing the edges. Let's try this one with distressing the edges. So we'll do each of the pieces. Then we won't have any white edges. That one doesn't show up very much except to eliminate any white of the tearing, but this one will distinguish its pieces. Depends on the look that you're going for. Do you want each of these pieces to really stand out as separate pieces, or do you want them to blend? We'll determine how you want yours to go. So you know this has a lot of white around the edge, and this is going to eliminate that. And maybe you want it eliminated, and maybe you don't want it eliminated. And this really light colored one is going to show a lot more as I go around. Okay, let's just put this corner on first this time. Doesn't really matter, although I think it is good to do the corners. Let's see, that would be this one. Okay. And this one comes down here. We got a little hole there, which is fine. We have a little gap right there too. Like I said, you can't tear them perfectly. Oops, that one slipped a little bit. Get that back down to its corner. If you make a mistake and put the glue on the wrong side, you can kind of wipe it off and then let it dry for a minute and then come back and put it on the correct side. Okay, so there's that one. So which do we like? I don't know. I think they'll just kind of alternate maybe. I think either one is fine. Depends on what you're going for, I guess. Okay. So these are pretty quick. And I did pick a very random assortment of papers. You might want to pick something, whoops, more going together, you know, more similar family, or these are kind of a crazy combination. Now that really overlapped on that one, but once again, it doesn't really matter. Put this one down in the corner. And see, they're pretty fast to get them glued together. Now we'll do this one distressed again. Whoops, sorry, that probably makes a bangy noise when that falls over, which it does often, and this falls over too. Somewhere I made a little tray to put it in that I could lay it down sideways and not have it rolling around or falling over, but it's kind of lost in the sorting out at the moment. So when that shows up again, I think I'll put it back into use. And we won't have everything banging around. Okay. There's all those pieces. So we'll glue these on. Whoops. Not sure I really like the word one with this combination, but when we get other things added on, it may blend in more. Now this one is way over here with quite a gap. Let's see, we'll do this corner. Like this. Set this one in the middle here, so we can, the little brush one would be easier, but we can just distress in between there. Plus we'll go around the edges of the card like that on all of these, not just the distressed in between ones. Get a little in this gap area. Mostly I just need to go around the edge because this paper is a little off. Already had the distressing, but this one doesn't, so we need to go all the way around. Some papers it shows up, and some papers not so much. Okay, let's just get this little edge gap there. Okay, now we have one more to glue together. And I do think starting in the corners is helpful. Then you know that you've got all the way out to the edges and the corners. Move that around. Got that. You can see I'm doing my card upside down, but it doesn't matter because we're covering it all and we don't really know which way is up with these. Whoops, I needed to put this one on because that's the only piece that doesn't go to a corner. This is going to overlap a fair amount. Theoretically, all the ones that leave gaps are going to overlap on another card. Okay, we can cover that up for the moment. So you can see how these each look different. By how we put them in here together. Now let's see what we would like to put with them. I'm gonna move this washi tape out of the way. Let's see if we have anything in this one that would look nice. We have this flower. This color-wise looks okay. We have a purple flower. This color looks good too. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze and hopefully I will not. Now we could just put all these that I have sitting here out to pick from. I have some more fussy cut ones that I thought would be good. I pulled out this stack of books. I pulled out this flower sticker. We also have some bikes and we have some stickers that are sorry about that. Cactuses or succulents. We have this row of mushrooms. This is my fussy cut flowers. I was wondering if we have something that's a good size in here. A lot of them are quite large. So they don't really fit on playing cards like this, very large. Well, this might be fun. Here's some VW buses. Okay. I don't know where all my fussy cut flowers are. This is my scraps. I might take this with me today to be out. I could cut some more. That's too big. Here's one of our cards. That mostly fits on. If we have to trim a little bit, that's okay. We have some birds we could choose from. Big mushroom. This is probably too big. That bird might be nice. Colors on that don't really go. We have this butterfly. Is that enough to choose from? Anything else? Okay. Oops. Set this over here to take that with me later today. And remember, we can always turn them even though we have this, especially if we're covering up part of it. Like if we wanted to put a bicycle across here where it mostly covered that up. That actually might be fun. Let's just go for it. Carefully peel this off because it has a lot of little pieces. I'll put that up there, I guess. I think we'll do with art glitter glue because I don't really want to run my glue stick over this. This is too fragile. That's one thing that this is nice. It has such a fine tip that you can get in little tiny places. Yeah. Need to wrap it around your fingers. So I think we'll just run it over here where you can kind of see some text, but you can't really read it. Blot off some of the excess glue. And we'll put something else over to that side. Let's see. We'll stand this here for a moment to look at it. We might do the flowers. I'd like to do the bus. I think that would be fun. Let's just set this here. I wanted to try some books. Maybe I'm gonna move my sewing scissors so I don't accidentally use them. Let's see, so if we put this on like this, cut this somewhere down here around the apple because we can't get further than that. We'll give it a little cut around the edges. This is a piece of stationery that you could print on the printer with. It has this book border that I had used for printing out something years ago, and I had several of them left, and so I just cut the book part off and reused the paper for something. I'm not sure what now, but I thought that these would make a nice graphic. We'll just get rid of this line that goes off to the side. This nice open one on the top. This would be nice for just a writing journal, or be really nice for a book where you record all the books you're reading, your reading journal. This would be a nice graphic for that. Could be in one of your pockets to add maybe something about your favorite book or the style that you like to read the most. Science fiction, adventure, romance, biographies, and why you like those. That could be something fun. Okay. Since this is just plain white, I'm going to get rid of that. Can we get rid of George with this? We can, and I actually made it too short. Oh, that's too bad, because I really like to, I guess if we put it over here, although that kind of lines up weird. How about this one? Or I like the more of a contrast. That would not be as much of a contrast, but this little thing here is kind of bugging me, but that's kind of nice. Let's see if it stands out enough with distressing. Otherwise, this is blending in here too much, and we might have to put something behind it, which should be fun if we put book page, but I don't know if have book page handy? I'm kind of hesitant for some book pages because I don't know what they're saying. You have to read it all to make sure you're not putting something in there that you'd rather not be saying on your page, especially if there's bad words or not good subjects. So you have to get a book that you can trust to not be a problem. I think that stands out enough. Okay. You could put a word on that might say read or favorites or books or best ever. Something. Okay, so we have that one on this Stack-A-Whack card. We could leave this with Love Family Showing and maybe make a collection. Put some of that color down here. That, or maybe we want, oops, maybe some of this. Might be nice, although this one kind of blends into that a lot. What if we switched and put this over here? I think that's better. And then we could put something else up there. So let's put this blue one on first. And should have delineated the edge and got rid of the white. It's not as effective when you have glue on it because you end up with glue all over your fingers. Let's see, doesn't that look nicer to eliminate little bits of white edge? Plus it'll make it stand out on your background Stack-A-Whack edge. Okay, I'll glue this one on. This one we don't want to cover up Love and Family, but not get it up too high either. This one is more delicate to do because I really did fussy cut it in there and get all the little edges. I don't know if I can get in between there without getting it too much on the other leaves. Okay, this with the gaps in here is kind of nice. We'll be able to see some other colors come through. Make sure we keep the Love and Family. A little bit of yellow between them. Okay, so there's 3 flowers, so they're looking very different. We need something to go with this. And I'm wondering if we just want to put some flowers growing up. What if we just took this bottom part off for another thing and stuck this on? So we have some more bright blue to go with the bike. We'll just have it growing over here. We could put a little path along there. Do I have a pen handy? I have black. rather have had like gold or something, but could just kind of make it rough under here instead of just a skinny line. I think that might look a little better. Okay, we really need some kind of word up there. Now we have two more. We can do a bird, or we could try this really big flower, although it's quite a bit of fussy cutting. Going to go in completely in there because I can't go completely everywhere. We'll distress it and kind of hide the background. It'd be nice if we could see through, because then I'd see the background for Stack-A-Whack patterns. Hopefully this fits on the card enough that this is worth taking the time to cut it out. If not, I'm sure I'll use it somewhere else, but I wouldn't want to waste your time. I'll come back in there in a minute if this fits. Generally cut out. Okay. Well, it fits fine. I think with outlining or distressing the edges, I think I will like it better, because it'll add a little bit of a brownie tint to it. Let's see if we can do this a little closer. And this one some. It's real fragile. I think I like it on this one. Okay. Let's do the edges. When you just have copier paper, because this is a digital, it's kind of floppy, so it's a challenge to get in there. So I think the little brush thing might work better. And gets in the little crevices. But this is definitely a better tool for the card edges, the firmer ones on the cards. It's not only faster, but it just does the edges better. Let's see if we can get kind of pounced in here. Tone the white down. There. That looks nice. So we'll do that one. Let's get rid of this. And could do this on here. Nope, it's not the right size. Let's do one of the cactuses. You can glue them at the same time. So we're done with those. This one's a little tall. Let's do it this way. We could do more than one, put one towards the back and then another one towards the front. So why don't we try this one towards the back? And let's trim it a little closer. Although this is quite fussy in here to get in the little edges. In some ways it's easier when it's still stuck to the back. Oops. I think it would be important to be able to see through here to see the pattern below. And around this sticky edge here. Good thing we're using glue because our fingers are removing the stick. Okay, got that one out. Continue on around this way. I think the next one I'll try to trim while it's still on the back. I think that would be easier. Let's see, this looks nicer to have less white around it. Unless you're putting it on white, and then that can be different. So we'll just finish this up quickly. Being told I have to go somewhere, so we might not get a second cactus on this one, but I'll go back and add it later. Okay, so let's glue this on. Put it all the way up to the back like this, and later I'll add another one down below. And I'll just trim this off real quick. Okay, put these out of the way. Glue this on real quick, and then we'll be done. Looks good. Okay, we didn't do a bus, but we'll do that in another one because I think that's a fun one. Okay, I wish I had time for an additional sticker, but we could do words as well. Okay, for day 29, hashtag play your hand. Here's our 5 cards we made using the stack and whack technique. So thank you for joining me for making these 5 cards in the stack and whack method today, and I hope you come back next time. This is Peggy from the Pearl Forest. Thank you.